What's good, YouTube? Brother Derek checking in for another video. Hope everybody's doing well. This one I'm gonna try to keep kind of short, but I just was thinking of just what I would recommend for men in their 19, between the ages 19 to let's say 31. My advice for them, because I was that age. I'm 33 now, and I made a lot of mistakes. I did a lot of things right. I did a lot of things good. I made a lot of smart investments. A lot of smart decisions, but I also made a lot of bad decisions. I'll say I made a lot of bad investments with people. I can't say I made a lot of bad investments. Well, actually, no, I did make some bad investments in money, and I just know I would have did a lot of things differently if I could speak to myself as 33 back to myself at 21 and 25, 27. I would have did a lot of things differently. So this could be a quick video. I have 7 steps or 7 pieces of advice that I give men between the ages of 19 to 31. And the first one will be, learn a skill or a trade. So I say that because it's important to have something under your belt. I'm not saying that this needs to be your end all be all, but I think it's important to learn a skill or a trade. That way you don't have to depend on the job. That at any point in time, let's say you're working at General Motors or you're working at Ford, and you're making good money, and you get tired of it, or you got a real a-hole boss, they're giving you a hard time. Well, hey, if you got a skill, like if you know how to build websites, or if you know how to code, or if you're an electrician or a plumber, or you have a trill or a skill. I said a trill. If you have a skill or a trade, you always have a way to make money without having to be stuck on that job. So you have options. That's why I say a skill or a trade is important. So take the time, learn a skill or a trade, you know, and try different things out, see what you like, because I think you should at least like it. And even for the ladies, I say because I know ladies might be watching this video too. You might do hair. You might I know y'all do lashes, and men too. Men, y'all can do that too. Y'all can do lashes for women, do hair, all that. Either way, learn a skill or a trade that'll save you a lot of hassle, stress. It'll give you options. Two is, I recommend, and I strongly recommend, if you can, wait till you're married to have kids. And you might not want to get married at some point, but from my own personal experience, having a kid with the wrong person, pretty much, I almost destroyed my life. It was a bad situation with a bad person, and then I had a kid with this person, and it was a bad situation. So, I want y'all to avoid the child support system. I want y'all to avoid the toxic, drama with baby mama drama, and, them creating issues for you, trying to get you put in jail. And also just, think about that kid that's in that situation, because a lot of us were that kid that were in that relationship where our parents weren't together, they hated each other, they disliked each other. That was, you hearing your parents say this about your mother, your father, just being in the middle of that sucked as a kid for most of us if we went through that. So think about that kid, because that's what you're putting out there. You're creating that kid in that environment if you're not, being smart about how you are having kids. So like I say, avoid, having kids with the wrong partner. At least wait till you marry or in a committed relationship before you have a kid. And also just avoid having multiple kids in those situations. Like if you have one, you live and learn, you make a mistake, you do your best, you do better. But I know a lot of men and women, but I know a lot of men that have 3, 4 kids spread out, different moms, and it's like, bruh, your money is gone. It's just not a good situation. So don't do that. Wait. Also, I recommend y'all stay away from drugs and alcohol. And I'm not saying like if that's your thing, you go out and have a couple drinks here and there. That's your thing. That's cool. I'm not saying don't do that, but I recommend you just be smart about what you put in your body, because you only get one body, you only get one chance at life. So be smart about it. A lot of people die from DUIs or even just being in the car with somebody that was drinking. People die being in the car driving high. It's just my mom would always say life is always hard. Is already hard enough, so you don't need drugs and alcohol to make it harder. And I always remembered that. So try to avoid those things. In my opinion, they're a waste of money. They're just a temporary disconnect from whatever you got going on, or whatever stress you have. It's just a temporary disconnect. But usually once that wears off, you back at where you left off. So it's just delaying what you need to work on or figure out anyway. So just take care of it. You don't need to waste the money and put yourself in harm's way a lot of times. And then and just so many scenarios that those things can get you in, like alcohol can get you involved. You go to the bar, you go to the club or something, you get involved, you get drunk, you go home with the wrong person. You don't know what you did, who you did it with. You might not even wake up the next day because of a car accident. So yeah, just be smart about that. And one of the things that helped me the most also, well, I'm not gonna say the most, but was a big impact, was just having good credit. Like, I built my credit up at a young age, and I always maintained it. So y'all, make sure y'all build your credit. You can get a secure credit card. I don't recommend taking the department store credit card route, because that forces you to shop at Walmart or J.C. Penney's. Or I had a friend that had got a jewelry store credit card, and I'm like, I don't think that's a good idea, because you have to buy jewelry to build your credit. So yeah, just get a secure credit card at your credit union. A lot of banks have that. And just build your credit. Stay on top of your credit. Don't buy things you can't afford that you aren't going to be able to pay off. So yeah, once you build your credit and keep it up, I have been able to have access to so many different things. I was able to get house loans, car loans, all on my own, no co-signer. I was able to get even credit cards like my Amex. I did a video on that y'all might have saw if you didn't check it out. How I fly for free. I was able to get one of those credit cards. I got a Venmo credit card that gives me 3% cash back. So just having good credit actually pays you to have good credit. You save on interest rates, especially right now when interest rates are high. You'll be able to get the lowest interest rate possible if you have the best credit, if you build your credit up. So I recommend that. And I also recommend, my advice to y'all is to, work out and eat right. Because a lot of times, when we're younger, and I know a lot of dudes, and I've seen a lot of dudes in high school I grew up with, they were playing football, basketball, and they were always in good shape. But then once, they got into their 19, their 20s, and they stopped doing those active things, they blew up, they got really big. So my recommendations is, we just work out, go to the gym a couple times a week, and just make eating healthy a priority. Like, you can't continue to do what you did in middle school, high school, in your early days, eating all that junk. McDonald's, Burger King, all that stuff is not good for you, and it's not gonna help you produce a good quality lifestyle, because you're not putting good quality foods in your body. So it's like cause and effect. Like, what you put in your body is what you get out. So make sure you're fueling your body with good things. Fruit, vegetables. I'm not saying you got to be vegan or plant-based like myself, but just be mindful of what you eat, and don't be eating garbage, eating this corner store food, eating fast food all the time. Try to get home cooked meals, cook for yourself. And that's something I recommend too, is all men, you need to know how to cook. You need to know how to cook and prepare your own food. I'm not saying you got to be a chef, but you do need to know how to prepare your own food. So, for all my young men that's, 19, 20s, getting ready to move out, and you still with mom, or you still with dad, or even with grandma, just be like, yo, hey ma, hey pop, I'm looking to move out in a couple years, or, blah, 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 I'm going away for school, or I want to go on my own. Could you show me how to make a couple dishes? That way you don't got to depend on nobody to eat, whether that's a partner or just even fast food. You don't have to depend on you know what you need to do to feed yourself. And if you get a girlfriend, spouse, or whatever, you can take care of them. You can cook for them. It's a good thing to have, y'all, to know that whatever happens, I know how to eat. I know how to prepare my own food. That is a life skill for everybody, but especially for men. A lot of times that's why a lot of men I feel like are living with other women that don't ever have their own space. And a lot of times it's because of these things. They don't know how to cook. They don't know how to take care of themselves. They don't have good credit, so they're not able to get their own place. So these things are important that you, as a man, you have these things in place. Like you know how to take care of yourself. You got your credit, good credit. And that brings me to my next thing, which is why, as men, and of course women, but this video is dedicated for the men, is we need to know and learn as much as we can about real estate. And that's because, and I heard this from Jamal King, which makes perfectly sense, is that perfectly good sense is that we all are involved in real estate in one shape or form. So what that means is whether you're renting, or whether you're staying with your mom or your dad, or whether you got your own house, or whatever the case is, or you in school and you stay in the dorm, you are involved in real estate. There is someone paying for where you live, or there's someone that bought the building, or you're buying the building, or you're renting. Either way, there's some transaction of real estate going on that you're in, whether you're on the paying side or you're on the paid side. And for a while, I was on the paying side. I live with my mom, and she had her own house, so I did learn the importance of owning your own home from her. But when I rented, there's nothing wrong with renting, but at some point, it's important to at least own your own home. That way, you can control where you live. Because I was spending about $650, $625 a month, and I swear that first came. It seemed like the first came every week. I felt like I was paying rent every week, and that money just goes to the rental office, like it goes to them. So once I left the house, once I moved out of my apartment, all that money was gone. So let's say 600 times 10, 6,000. So add another 2 months. So let's just say I spent $13,000 every year, to live in that apartment. Once I moved out, that money's gone. That's it. I don't get it back. It's not putting a special fund for me to go buy a house, or I could buy a car. Like, that money's gone. And we have to live somewhere, but it's just important that you learn real estate. That way, you can learn how to buy a house, or you can buy a duplex where you can live for free, live on one side and rent the other side out, or even buy a 3 unit or a 4 unit, or you could get into wholesaling where you look for people that's looking to sell their house, and you connect them with somebody that's willing to buy, that wants to buy the house, and you make a commission for selling the document. So different ways to get involved, but and I say again, you need to learn real estate. You need to be involved. Every man needs to have a place. They need to own a piece of land. They need to own where they rest their head. At some point, it's important. That way you ain't got to worry about getting kicked out. And my last thing I recommend is to focus on quality relationships over quantity. And I say that because a lot of times, college and a lot of times high school, we have this mindset of, you just want to be popular, you want to be around your friends, or you just want quantity. You want a lot of times, even us men, we want a lot of females. We want a lot of relationships. We want a lot of events to go to. We want a lot of quality of things, but there's no quality. So I say focus on the quality, because that's what's most important. That's where you'll get the most value out of people, is when you focus on the quality. If you're trying to chase a whole bunch of women, 9 times out of 10, they're probably not going to be the best. And also, you're not going to be the best because you're focused on so many of them that you don't focus on being the best person for them and for yourself. And then you don't have the time to learn them, to see who they really are, to get the quality out of them. So if you just focus on having one partner, one relationship with a female, or whatever that is that you want to do at the time, if you're dating, or if you just focus on just the quality of one female, and focus on having a couple friends, like a couple of homeboys or close friends that you hang with. You don't need to be on every party. You're not missing out on anything. I used to feel like, I was missing out because I didn't go to bars, and I wasn't into the club. I didn't go to the clubs. And I learned after talking to some of my homeboys that went that, you know, I wasn't missing out on nothing. They wasn't doing nothing. It was the same thing, the same people looking for the same thing. It's just a waste of time. So, you know, focus on quality over quantity, and you'll have a better return on the people that you spend that time with. So, hope this video helped y'all. You know, I wish I had this advice when I was between my, 19, my 20s and even late 20s. You know, like I said, I'm 33, so I learned a lot. Still learning, but I know this will help y'all that are younger than me, and even some of y'all that are older than me. You know, you can never stop learning, and never feel like it's too late to learn. You know, it's always time to better yourself. It's always time to change your circumstances to get what you're trying to get, to reach your goals. So never give up, y'all. So I'll see you on the next video. I'm out, y'all. Peace.